death of Oscar Grant represented the abuse of power. The death of 4 officers by Lovelle Mixon represented the explosion of that tension. 2 city officials. This was a nightmare. They were losing control of the narrative. On one hand, 4 heroic officers had been murdered. On the other, decades of racial tension, economic neglect, and police community hostility were boiling over. Town hall meetings turned emotional and chaotic. Victims of police brutality told their stories. Mothers of slain children spoke about harassment, and others, including educators and youth leaders, tried to steer the conversation toward healing. But healing requires trust. And in 2009 Oakland, there wasn't much of it left. Pain on both sides. As spring turned to summer in 2009, the city of Oakland stood paralyzed, caught between mourning and unrest, between grief and fury. Families of the slain officers were still reeling from the sudden, violent loss. Meanwhile, some in East Oakland neighborhoods tried to defend or at least explain Lovelle Mixon's actions, blaming a system that seemed designed to fail people like him. This wasn't just a city in mourning. It was a city in conflict. The pain on both sides was real. At police precincts and memorials, pictures of SGT, Mark Donican, Officer John Heege, SGT Irvin Romans, and SGT Daniel Sakai lined the walls. Their faces were immortalized in news clips, honored at community events, and enshrined in plaques and dedications. OPD created scholarships in their names. Badge numbers were retired. Their stories were told in classrooms and academies to remind cadets of sacrifice and service. But in East Oakland, other stories surfaced, ones of profiling, stop and frisk, and years of over-policing. Some longtime residents recalled being pulled over dozens of times, treated like suspects, even when doing nothing wrong. For them, Lovelle Mixon wasn't a hero, but neither was he an anomaly. He was a product of a violent cycle. "People act like he just snapped," said a local youth organizer at a community forum. But he didn't. He was made by prison, by poverty, by trauma. This city makes people like Lovelle, then act shocked when they explode. That sentiment drew heavy criticism, especially from law enforcement and the families of the officers. But it wasn't about excusing Mixon's actions. It was about demanding a deeper look at what created him. Was Lovelle Mixon purely evil, or was he a broken man created by broken systems? The answer wasn't simple, but the pain on all sides was undeniable. Media storm and mixed narratives. The national media seized on the story with a hunger that bordered on sensationalism. CNN aired back-to-back segments titled "Cop Killer," "Rampage," and "Oakland."